Guess what, folks? It's just me again, just another black conservative. And in this video, we're going to talk about Mr. Maryland Man himself, the epitome of American society, the upstanding member of the Maryland community, has beat the system yet again. A judge has decided that, no, we can't keep him under detention. Free him now. And the judge has also decided we can't deport him. So guess what? The Maryland man, the El Salvador citizen himself, will be roaming the United States without impunity because the squeamish American public are very fickle. And not only are they fickle, they have no resolve. Every country in the world knows that the United States has no resolve. They claim they want to do something, like we want to deport the illegal immigrants that are in our country. But when it's actually done, they don't like the dirty work. You've heard Democratic or the left side claim that these people wash your toilets, take care of your kids. They do the jobs you don't want to do. Therefore, they need to stay in our society. That even though they come to our country and drop a baby, raise the baby to be a 16-year-old child, and then bring that child in front of us to testify and say that you cannot deport my parents, what am I going to do? And he cries, and then the empathy pours in, and the resolve drops, and we decide, no, we can't deport them. We feel for these children that these parents have dropped on the United States. And you know what? I feel for them too. But I blame the parents because it's their fault that they came to this country illegally, decided to live in the country, some of them for 30 years, 40 years in this country, and not one time did they attempt to get citizenship. Not one time did they try to go down to the office and apply to become a naturalized citizen of the United States. Why? Why haven't they? Why didn't they? Because some of them have built very successful lives within the United States. They've raised children to go to college. They've raised children to get nice jobs. I mean, some of them are lawyers. Some of them are doctors. And you know what? I applaud them for that. I applaud them for raising those children to be contributors to our society. However, I do not give them a pass for not becoming citizens of our country. You want to afford all of the features of our country, then you need to become a citizen. If you are not a citizen, you're a subject for deportation. Deportation. But no. We can't do that. Trump is too harsh. The way Trump is doing it is way too harsh. Holman has said that I am going after the worst of the worst. But if I come upon you and you're illegal and you're standing next to this criminal that is illegal, you're both going. Sad. But it has to be done. So let's watch this report about the Honorable Kilmar Armando García.
So let's go right to. It's notable also that this is happening as the DHS secretary is testifying to Congress.
Yeah, Pamela, this is a remarkable development. Again, in the case of Kilmar Armando García, this has been an ongoing case now for months. And in this scenario, this is the federal judge in Maryland where these proceedings have been happening before her. More specifically, where exactly he would be deported to after he was returned to the United States.
Of course, this upstanding father, will be staying in the U.S. I bet this is what's gonna happen. He's gonna be released, and he's probably gonna stay in the U.S. for the rest of his life. This is my opinion. The judges are making it almost impossible to get this guy out of the country, and I don't know. I guess the U.S. government or the immigration courts or the immigration law or any of that can actually be done or handled because the judges are stopping it. So let's just continue.
Earlier this year. Now, the federal judge, over the course of these various hearings, has made clear her confusion over why the administration was not just deporting Kilmar Armando García to Costa Rica, a country that said was willing to receive him because he cannot be sent back to El Salvador. But
now, I'm going to admit that the Trump administration has flubbed this. And again, like she said, I don't understand why they didn't just send him to Costa Rica. I don't know what happened, but maybe in a future report or something we'll find out what happened or what's going to happen, because he's going to be released, and I wonder if they can pick him up and deport him anyway. But we're going to find out. So let's just finish watching this.
The administration has been pushing for African countries to take him instead, and that is where the tension was over the course, again, of these hearings. And now the federal judge, in this order that we received only moments ago, saying that Kilmar Armando García must be released immediately. She also asked the government to notify his counsel of the next steps here by the end of the day, by 5 p.m. today. And I'm also reading through her opinion here, which is several pages long, and she even notes, again, quote, "The history of Armando García's case is as well known as it is extraordinary." Again, the administration, when they brought him back, they have put him forth for criminal charges. Similarly, he was being held at an ICE facility. And it was while he was in that ICE facility that the administration was also trying to sort where they were going to deport him. And that was, again, really where these proceedings were trying to discern where that would be. And the government kept coming back with wanting to send him to Africa. His counsel said that made no sense, that he should be sent to Costa Rica where he had protections, the government pushing back on that. And in the interim, there was no reason, the judge found over these hearings, for him to remain in government custody.
I'm wondering if the reason why Trump was pushing this is because they were saying that they could deport him to any country they wanted to other than El Salvador. So they were like, well, we'll just send him to the most faraway place we can, Africa. But I don't know if it's going to play out that way. But it's kind of funny that this case keeps going on and keeps coming and popping back up into my feed here. But of course, CNN made this report today, so I had to do my little commentary on it.
They were still going back and forth on where he would be deported to. So again, now Kilmar Armando García will be released according to this order. I have reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for comment. They have not returned comment yet. We'll see what the government files in this case in response to this opinion. But to remind viewers, this is the Salvadoran man who earlier this year was sent to El Salvador despite what we call withholding of removal to that country. He had an immigration judge order that prevented him being sent back to El Salvador because of concerns for his safety there. Otherwise, he could be deported to any other country. But the administration did send him there and said in filings that that was a mistake while he was held at that Salvadoran prison. The administration returned him over the summer to face criminal charges. He was released for a period of time before being detained again by the administration and being held at an ICE facility in Pennsylvania. So now we are on watch to see what happens and unfolds over the rest of the day, because again, while the federal judge is saying here you have to release him immediately, she's also saying report back on what exactly you are going to be doing to make that happen by, again, 5 p.m. today. So we are watching all of this closely and reading through her.
So I guess around 5 o'clock Eastern time, he will either be released or they're going to file some paperwork to see if he shouldn't be released. But I hope that if he is released, we get to see his press conference on him, you know, with his wife and his children, and how much of a how much an emotional mess he is, and how much he should get love from the community, and that he will be an upstanding person for the rest of his life.
Opinion on how she came to this decision.
Yeah, this is significant. Priscilla Alvarez, thank you so much. I want to go to Andy McCabe on this because...
Oh, wait. Now she's bringing on the great Andy McCabe. Let's check this out. This ought to be good.
When all of this was going on, when the administration had mistakenly deported Ábrego García, Kristi Noem had said on multiple occasions that he would never set foot or live in the United States again. She is about to testify on Capitol Hill, and then you have this big development in this case.
Pretty much everything the government has said over the long course of this case and its companion criminal case, they indicted him when they brought him back from El Salvador, has been reversed. They said they'd never bring him back. They brought him back. Now he's, would never set foot freely in the country again, and here he is getting released. I think he's still a long way from determining where his future is going to be. They haven't abandoned their efforts to deport him. They're just locked in this struggle with the judge as to where they can possibly deport him to. But it does seem that for the interim, he'll be a free man, reunited with his family, no doubt.
But this could be appealed quickly, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure it will be appealed. But typically, these are very fact-based matters, and when a judge weighs in as deeply as this judge has. I mean, there have been so many hearings in this case. There have been so many requests for evidence, people testifying. It's hard. Those are much tougher rulings to appeal because they are, appellate courts have a lot of respect for district courts when they really get down in the weeds on the facts.
And again, just to reiterate, we're about to hear from Secretary Noem. What questions do you think this latest development raises for her? Because this case encapsulated so much, right? It encapsulated the tactics and the policy around immigration for this administration, whether the administration was actually following the judge's orders.
The only problem with this particular case, in my opinion, is that they didn't just send him away to any other country. They didn't have to send him to El Salvador. But when they sent him to El Salvador, everybody had to jump into this and say that they kidnapped him off the street and they put him in a plane, flew him down to El Salvador and put him in that I think it's called CCOT, the El Salvadoran prison that that the president of El Salvador has been putting MS-13 gang members in because he had enough with the crime in El Salvador. And actually, he's cleaned up the streets down there. I mean, he did do it heavy-handedly, but he did clean the streets up. But everybody was empathetic for this. They were calling him the Maryland man, or they actually even, I think I even saw reports where they were saying that he was actually a citizen of the United States, and he was sent down there as a citizen, and he is not a citizen of the United States. He is a citizen of El Salvador. But this is how the story gets corrupted and changed, and then everybody wants to be empathetic to it, and then they want him to be able to stay in the U.S. So here's my prediction on what's going to happen to Kilmar Armando García. I think he will be deported eventually, but I think he's going to be sent to he'll probably end up in Costa Rica because I think that's where he wants to go. The U.S. kind of flubbed this entire thing because they did the whole CCOT El Salvador thing. They should have just sent his butt to Costa Rica, or they could have just shipped him to any other country besides El Salvador, and no one probably would have even said a word. But of course, it put everybody on fire because he was sent there. And then, well, actually, I think what caused a lot of the fire was that a lot of the news reports, or the MSM, were saying that he was a citizen. And I think that made a lot of people on fire. Now, if he does stay in the U.S., it'll be the great thing for the left because you'll have Kilmar here to pick your crops or clean your toilets or take care of your children. Yeah, that's an idea. I think you should hire Kilmar to babysit and caretake for your child so that you feel safe when you're at work doing your job. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video.